Hello there, beautiful people. I'm April San Pedro, and I have another journal with me video for you. So if you've seen the last one, the last journal with me video was about me participating in the Illustrated Faith Gratitude documented for the month of this November. As much as I want to film every day my spreads, unfortunately it's just not possible. It takes a lot of time to film and then edit. So once in a while I'll be popping in and share with you my process, how I actually journal my gratitude documented. Right now I'll be sharing day 20, which is about opportunities to serve others. For this prompt, the Bible verse is 1 Peter 4:10. So normally I would read the entire chapter, but for some reason, which I do not do often, but for this one, I covered some of the Bible verses here. So fortunately, the prompt verse was not covered, so I guess that's a good sign. So I'm just gonna read this part, which says, just as each one has received a gift, use it to serve others as good stewards of the varied grace of God. So just as the prompt says, or the prompt title, it's opportunities to serve others. Now I have so many thoughts about this, or I want to share something about this because this is something that I actually prayed for since I think the pandemic started, or even the year before the pandemic started. And I will go through that thought as I do my layout as well. So for now, I want a different technique from all the rest that I've done for this journal. So I want to use a textured paste, or what I have here is a light molding paste from Golden. So I want to share with you how I want to go about this process. Now, before anything else, I want to prime my page with gesso because I want to make sure that by adding the molding paste and some colors, the previous pages and the next one won't be affected so much. Although I have tried adding so much water like this one, I washed the entire page with watercolor, and so far I did not see any bleeding from the previous page. But just to be sure, I just want to prep my page with gesso. So what I'm doing here is I just dropped a pea-sized gesso on my page, and then I'm using an old debit card just so to spread the gesso all over the page. You can do this with brush as well. I just like using credit card because it gives me a wide quicker job right away. Plus I like the flat texture that it gives me compared to a brush. So either way, that would be fine. So I'm just gonna wait for this to get dry, and then we're gonna move on with the molding paste. Alright, so the gesso is dry. You would know if the gesso is dry if you touch the paper and the gesso is not sticking on your fingers anymore. This one, the gesso dries quickly, but depending how thick or thin you're applying on your page, you'll also notice that the paper is a bit matte and there's a little texture on it. So if this bothers you, you can just remove or not opt for gesso, especially if you've tried and tested your paper already. If you're using a mixed media journal, which uses a thicker paper, sometimes I don't use gesso anymore, and so far the paper can handle it. But what I've noticed is if you apply gesso on your page, or on the paper or surface that you want to do something on it, the paints or other medium behaves better, except for watercolor. So I noticed before, if I apply watercolor on a gessoed paper, I didn't like the result of it. But if you're just using acrylic paints, gelato and other things, gesso is your best friend, especially if you're using a thin paper just like this one. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna place the stencil here. I'm using a palette knife, and then I think it's better if you adhere some tape here, washi tape maybe, but I'm just gonna do this without it. The molding paste will also vary depending how thin or thick you will apply. So if you're gonna apply a thick one, then it will take a little time before it fully dries. You can also do this with color already. So right now I'm just using the molding paste as it is, so it's just plain white, and then I'm gonna add color later on. But if you want to add color, you can add later on, or you can already mix it with color. Just place your molding paste, texture paste on a different palette or a paper, scratch paper maybe, and then add some color in it, mix it together, and then before you apply it on your stencil. So here's what it's gonna look like, and I like that. I always like the effect of texture paste or molding paste. I'm not sure why I'm not using it more often, but I think it's more of I'm impatient, and sometimes I don't have the luxury to have a long journaling time, so I don't have the time to get my molding paste, the stencil, and then let it dry before I do something else. But for now, I really want to try and use this. So here we are. I'm just gonna let it dry for a while, and in the meantime, I wanna check how to lay out my spread. So what I normally do with my journal is I put the focal point on one side of the page. So it's either in the middle, right side, left side, upper part, or lower part. So just like this one, it's in the middle. And then I leave some space for journaling. I also put the Bible verse here, so I don't have to go back to my Bible all the time. So there's a space for the die-cut ephemeras, for my reflections, and the Bible verse. So right now, I'm gonna check how I'm gonna design my spread using die-cut ephemeras. And I'm checking what other die-cuts I have right now. So if it's gonna match the colors, and then what color I'll be using for the molding paste. I actually also like the silhouette effect of the molding paste, but we'll see later if I'm gonna add if I'm gonna add a color to it or not. So we'll see later. Okay, I think this will be the layout for my die-cut ephemeras. So I'm using so I'm mixing die-cut ephemeras from the Gratitude Documented. This one is from the Print and Pray shop. It's a digital die-cut ephemera. This one is from the actual kit of the Mark Maker Devotion Null Kit. And so I'm mixing it together with this because this is actually like a reminder for me of my purpose, what I'm doing. So going back to what I said a while ago, that this prompt actually speaks to me very strongly because few years ago, so I was a bit lost when it comes to my career and my passion. I'm not sure where I'm heading or what's the purpose of what I'm doing. And then I have these three wonderful ladies who are also into art. We talk about that Jesus also likes the idea of us creating anything, or just simply being creative in our own way. And that was actually a relief because at some point I was asking myself, why am I doing this? This is just a self-expression for me. There's no purpose to it. I didn't find any reason. Like, I was into exhibit paintings before. That was really my goal. And then later on, I realized, what is the purpose of me joining exhibitions? Is it just because I want to be part of it? But what is it for others? Of course, art can make others feel differently, like it makes them happy and things like that. But I was looking for something else, for a certain purpose, or it was actually vague at that time. And then during my pregnancy with my first child, I came across this artist. Her name is Lauren Daigle. She's a singer. I believe she started with Christian songs. And when I heard her sing, her voice was just so angelic, so calming. Every time she sings the lyrics of her songs, it makes me feel like Jesus is really talking to me directly. And when I heard that, I felt like, I kind of prayed and asked Jesus, like, if he would have given me a wonderful voice, I would sing to him like Lauren Daigle every day of my life. Or I would praise him with songs and hymns, and and it would be nice that people would hear it the way Lauren Daigle was able to reach to me. And then upon praying that, or upon telling that to Jesus, I was actually stunned. I then realized, okay, so I don't have a good voice, a wonderful voice to sing, but I do have other things that Jesus gave me, which is this, being creative in my own way, whether it's a visual art, it's creating, it's probably for journaling, and I can draw, I can paint, and that's probably somewhere I should start. And it's funny, I did not see that before, because to me, I was just asking him, like, I wish you have given me a voice and I would do this and do that for you. But that's when I realized this is probably the reason why I am drawing, I am painting, and since then I was able to create journal kits that are actually inspired from my journey with Bible verses or lyrics from Christian songs. In general, the journal kits that I created were mostly an inspiration from my journey that made me closer to him. That was actually a revelation for me that I may not have the same talent the others have, but we all have our own unique given talent. Just like what the Bible prompt says, just as each one has received a gift, use it to serve others. And this prompt is another testimony or another affirmation for me that no matter how big, how small, it's actually, I think your talent is not about being big or small. It's just more of like how you hone your talent. So if, let's say, I believe God has given me the talent to use my hands to draw, to paint, and things like that. So it's up to me how to make it bigger by honing my skills, by showing up as much as I have to, by learning more techniques and stuff like that. And nonetheless, all of us were given a special talent, and that's just up to us whether how we use it. And in this Bible verse, we are actually reminded to use this to serve others. Ever since I had that kind of revelation about my art and stuff like that, I always pray, especially every time I create a journal kit for my anniversary or for another collection, I always pray that this kit or this thing that I'm doing, even the videos that I make, I always pray that this will actually inspire someone and become closer to Jesus. And that is just the goal. And the opportunity that I can serve others with my simple creativity, simple as this journaling. Sometimes I ask myself, how am I actually helping others with my journaling videos, with my journaling kit? It just kind of looks nice. I mean, sure, these things make you feel happy because you kind of look at it on a you're visualizing it in a beautiful thing. But in a way, the process of journaling, sitting down, writing down, being creative is actually also a journey of you being close to Jesus. That's part of the journey. And that's how I feel actually every time I journal, especially whenever I'm not filming. The collaging, the sticking of whatever, it's part of my praise and worship for Him. So I hope watching some of my videos, or if you were able to bought some of my kits, I was able to bring out the same emotion that I was trying to bring in while making that kit. And that is to make you become closer to Jesus. Right now, I am just adding two more stickers, and then write down the Bible verse here, and then my reflection here. Oh, and also, since this one is a bit dry, I'm gonna add, let's see if we can add watercolor on it. I'm gonna write the Bible verse here, but since I normally use my fountain pen, but since I put gesso here, I don't want to risk my fountain pen. I'm pretty sure it will affect the nib, so might as well not do it. I'm just gonna use this pentel brush and write down the Bible verse. Now let's add watercolor here. I just love texture of a molding paste, the embossed feels that it gives on your spread. This really reminds me that I should be using more molding paste on my journals more often. It's so easy. It's just a bit messy, and if you're not in your workspace, I don't think it's convenient if you bring this along with you when you travel. So mostly my colors are pink and peach or corals. So there are a few greens and yellows here. So I wanna add more yellows and greens just so to match my other fingers, so they won't feel left out. I'm just dabbing the watercolor. I'm mixing green and yellow here, and then maybe a little pink on this part. Here, the date today. And I'm thinking I want to add some tabs. I'm not sure what to write on it. However, it's gonna be too much pink already. This one looks nice here. Yeah, so I kind of feel that this part needs something else. So I'm gonna add a bit of yellow here. Then also here, just to match the colors from this side. And this one too. There you go. That's it. This is my spread for this prompt. I hope you like we have here and inspired you to try molding paste or texture paste. So if you cannot find this molding paste, light molding paste from Golden, try looking for a textured paste. So it's just the same. I know Pebeo has a cheaper version of a textured paste. You can try that one out. Okay, thank you so much for watching this video, friends. If you're interested, if you knew about Illustrated Faith's Gratitude Documented, please share in the comments below. If you're joining, tag me your handle so I can also see what you've been doing. And if you're not familiar with this yet, feel free to join. Illustrated Faith has a free prompt every month. You don't have to have all this, like the ephemeras and all. It's needed some inspiration. The Bible verse prompts are very much okay already. So I hope you like this video, the Journal With Me video, and I'll see you again on my next video. Happy weekend, friends. Bye.